This is the Whole Care Network, helping you tell your story one podcast at a time. Content presented in the following podcast is for information purposes only. Views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the host and guest and may not represent the views and opinions of the Whole Care Network. Always consult with your physician for any medical advice, and always consult with your attorney for any legal advice. And thank you for listening to the Whole Care Network.
Hello, my friend. This is Isabel Malgarejo, your host, and this is A Time to Care, the Caregivers podcast. How are you today? I'm hoping that you're amazing. A few weeks ago, like 2 weeks ago, we went to a basketball game. And while we were watching this very fun event and we were cheering for our team, and we were having fun and we were enjoying ourselves, it came to my realization that life would be very boring if we were to make no mistakes at all. Let's dig deep into that. Let's get started. I went to a basketball game, and while we were watching this game, I was thinking life would be very boring if everything that we do would be perfect. I think this analogy has been everywhere. We talk about baseball, a very, very good baseball batter succeeds 40% of the time. We have all these examples regarding sports, like you fail a lot before you succeed. And that is what makes life so fun. Because if whatever you were to try would be perfect from the beginning, then what would be the purpose on trying something new or doing anything new? Like, that would be done, period. There would be no chance of growing, there would be no chance of anything. And life would be very boring because, well, you would know that whatever team would always succeed, everybody would score, and probably not because the other team is doing a perfect job as well, so they're blocking perfectly. So, can you imagine how boring that would be? Knowing that if your team has a chance to score, they are not going to score because the other team is going to be perfect as well. So, life would be very, very boring. Instead, when we have the chance to fail and when we have the chance to do things differently, that's when we have life happening. That's when we are able to get amazed by life. And that's, oh my goodness, like that is the spice of the world right there. When we're making mistakes and when we're trying to improve and when we're trying to do things differently and we want to be better every day and we get frustrated because we failed, but then next time we try and we succeed. And that is so amazing. What does any of these has to do with caregiving? Mostly, you would say nothing. But it has to do a lot with caregiving because we are in this state learning and experiencing new things. When taking care of an aging parent, there are tons of things we had never experienced before. There are tons of things that we had never done before, and we're learning and we're improving every time that we do something. And yes, it is very frustrating when things don't go our way. And it is very frustrating when we lose our temper or when we lose perspective or when we're tired. But if things were just perfect all the time, there wouldn't be any chance of improvement. Even though this might sound very contradictory, because probably you want to be the perfect caregiver. But let me tell you something. The same way as with the basketball game, when a team would always score perfectly and would always get blocked perfectly because everybody's doing a perfect job. And how that would be very boring to watch, because you would know by the end of the day that it would be zero. There would be nothing. When there is no room for mistakes, then there's nothing. And the same happens with caregiving. If we already knew that our days would be perfect and monotonous and we would respond perfectly all the time, then we would be robots. We wouldn't be allowed to feel all the feelings that we feel when we are in such positions. And there wouldn't be any laws for us to decide what to prioritize, because that would have already been done for us. And there would be no chance for things to be different. There would be no directives, because, I don't know, things would have already been said and done for us. And sometimes that wouldn't be fair for anybody. And yet, we thought with us being able to do better things and with us being able to provide and improve, we have been able to improve our laws, which allows people to have advanced directives and people can choose how they want to live. And we have been able to decide how we build our wheels. So back in the day, the only one getting anything from their parents was the firstborn male. So there would be no chance for us women to inherit absolutely anything. There would be no chance for us to decide if we want to share that money with a cause that we really love. There would be nothing of that. And because we failed, and because we have failed so many times, we have given the chance of many new opportunities to happen. And that is just talking about legal arrangements. What about financial arrangements? Everything would be said and done. And this is something that is really hard for me right now to talk about, because I've been worried about money for so long. And I wish I could just have enough money to pay everything that I want. And I have to make decisions. And making those decisions is allowing me to prioritize what is best for me right now. And by prioritizing where I want to spend my money has allowed me to think about the things that I consider more valuable. And believe me, this is so hard to say. And I'm pretty sure you're saying, how dare you? In a perfect world, we would be able to afford absolutely everything. And we wouldn't be struggling to paying doctor's bills. And we wouldn't be struggling to figure out if we can hire someone to help us with the care. And yet, that is magic, because we're able to do things differently. And maybe today we don't have enough resources for absolutely everything. But guess what? That opens the door and the possibilities for us to go and look what we really want for. That opens a world of possibilities. Imagine that world in which you can create whatever you want and create more wealth for you and the people that you love. Isn't that amazing? And that only happens because we have failed so many times. And I don't know who and I don't know how, but humanity built a capitalist world that allows us to do that. In a perfect world, we would still be living by castes And we wouldn't be allowed to move out of those casts because everything would be perfect. And all the decisions would have already been made before us having any conscience of those decisions. Today, you have the opportunity to think what else you can do and how to create more wealth with less work. And that is completely possible. You can design your life the way that you want it to give you the results that you want. And yes, you have to work for it, and you have to work very, very, very hard to achieve whatever you want. But that is possible. And those possibilities are open for all of us because we make mistakes over time. And mistakes allows us to improve. And then think about anything else you can do, how you can design your life to fit the way that you want to be. That life would be great. And that life can be whatever you want to do because you're able to think about anything that you want. How on earth today, during this conversation, what are the first steps that you can do? First of all, is believing in yourself and believing that you can create whatever life you want. Believing that you can rebuild your life to accommodate your personal needs. And this, my friends, is so tough. I've been working for more than a year on building a very strong mental foundation. And I'm here today with you, telling you that I'm struggling with money, that I'm struggling to define what's best for me, and knowing that I need to keep working harder on creating wealth internally so then I can create that wealth externally. And that all starts by me believing I can. So, unless you're driving, let's do a little exercise today. If you're in a safe place, in a quiet place, close your eyes and think about something that you wish were true. Do you have it now? Now, I give you permission to know that that thought can be a reality. I give you permission to know that you can build that reality. And for that reality to become true, the first thing that you need to do the tiniest change in your habits. So close again your eyes and think about what can be the tiniest habit that you can change today to make that happen. So now, open your eyes. And before anything else happens, go and do that habit. Create that habit today. Thank you so much for listening, for joining me today. Hey, I've got great news for you. I'm running a series of webinars, and I would love for you to join us. Today, it's May 10th. So today I will be giving a webinar. So probably this is like right now, and probably you're not going to be on time, but go ahead on the link and join the next webinar, which is going to be done by my sister. She brings a very different perspective than me. All good stuff. So go ahead, go to the link and join that webinar for May 24th. That's going to be a Friday, and you can go join the webinar, listen to her, learn good stuff, and create a better future for yourself. Talk to you next week.
This is the Whole Care Network. Helping you tell your story one podcast at a time.